This is a Nice Guys Patreon exclusive.
Welcome to another Ice Guys team season preview video. 32 teams in 32 days rolls along. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and we have Jason Demers with us to talk about the Utah. No longer, well, they are a hockey club, but they're not called the Utah Hockey Club anymore. They have a name, and it is the Utah Mammoth. I was hoping for Yeti. We were, I think, all expecting and kind of hoping for Yeti, but they ended up getting that old stop sign put up by the Cooler Company, and as a result, Utah Mammoth, the name of this team as they embark on year two after moving from Arizona. You look at this Utah Mammoth team, they were a team that, despite, lots of challenges, right? You're getting everyone acclimated to a brand new city and playing in a new state, new city, Salt Lake City, Utah. Last year, there's challenges there. But on the ice, this team, put a competitive group out there. There was a time that they were hanging in there for a playoff spot, but obviously ended up falling short. They finished the season with 89 points ahead of Nashville and Chicago in the Central Division. And they managed to finish ahead of three teams in the Pacific Division, Anaheim, Seattle, and San Jose. And they were only 1 point behind Vancouver. So when you look at it, it was a season outside of the playoffs, but, kind of a challenge, lots of challenging things, as far as getting acclimated to a brand new place to play. But nevertheless, you look at the roster going into this season, a lot of familiar faces up front, not a massive amount of change or turnover or personnel. The biggest change, obviously, is the trade that brought JJ Peterka here from the Buffalo Sabres in the offseason. Someone that wanted out of Buffalo. They think he'll enhance this team offensively, which does have a solid nucleus in their top six. When you think about the potential of putting Peterka with a Logan Cooley and a Dylan Guenther, Clayton Keller, Barrett Hayton, and Nick Schmaltz as your likely top six forward group, that's pretty fucking good. That's a pretty solid place to start here for the Utah Hockey Club going into this season. There's probably a little bit of concern about the how much punch they're going to get, offensively from the bottom six. When you're talking about, Kyler Yamamoto, who's been with Edmonton and Seattle in the past, and now here with Utah, is kind of someone that's inconsistent when it comes to the production side of things offensively. Jack McBain, Lawson Krause, Big Tuna, as they call him, Liam O'Brien, Kevin Stenlund, Brandon Tanev. I must say that's a nice addition. That guy is an energy guy as far as fourth line is concerned. Crash and bang, forecheck, physical, go to the net and try to score goals, get to the dirty areas of the ice. Those are the players you need on a hockey team for sure. And there's going to be some good competition here for some of these bottom roles because, when you look at it, don't forget, it looks like Alex Kerfoot, the veteran, is starting the training camp here on the injured list. You've still got Michael Carcone, and you've got some other players that are going to be in the mix too for spots. So, like I said, for Utah, I think there is some concern about the bottom six as far as what they'll get from them consistency-wise on offense, but certainly look like they're going to have a solid top six going into this season. You look at the blue line, obviously, Mikhail Sergachev, who they've got, obviously, a couple of years ago from Tampa, John Marino, Ian Cole, the veteran, Sean Dursey, who you hope will have a better opportunity for health-wise this year. He did battle some injuries last year. Oli Mata, Nate Schmidt, a couple of veterans, on the third pair. Solid blue line when you look at it overall. In net for this Utah Mammoth team, Karel Vejmelka, Vitek Vanacek are likely going to be your goaltending tandem there. Karel Vejmelka, there were moments last year, played some absolutely outstanding hockey for the Utah Mammoth. And certainly we have seen at times, little glimpses of him and his play improving. You look at 2 years ago, his goals against was 3.35 and a save percentage .895 final year when they were in Arizona as the Coyotes. And then they went to Utah last year, and the numbers got a lot better for Vejmelka. 2.58 goals against average, .904 save percentage. His games played jumped by 20 from 38 games 2 years ago to 58 games last year. That's a good sign that for Vejmelka, with the increased workload, he put together his best season by far as an NHL starting goaltender, and he is going to be an important component, as any goaltender, but especially for this Utah team, if they're going to make those inroads and become a team that not only competes for a playoff spot, but maybe gets into one. Vitek Vanacek, on the other hand, he's pretty much morphed into a backup at this stage of his career. The numbers last year between San Jose and Florida, not very good, 5-18 record, 884 save percentage, 3.62 goals against average. So my point is keep Vejmelka healthy. That's going to be imperative here because certainly Vanacek's numbers weren't anything to write home about. One thing I've been impressed with Arizona/Utah since Andre Tourigny's been the head coach is we've seen this team compete. We've seen this team be competitive most nights, and I think that work ethic has been instilled in this Utah Mammoth team. We'll see how it translates here into this season. Of course, they also dealt Matias Michelli to Toronto, kind of fell out of favor, had a disappointing year last year. And Bill Armstrong, the GM, deciding, to part ways with him as well. So that's something worth noting. But, for this Utah Mammoth team, I like them. I don't know if I lean over their point total. Their point total for this upcoming season with Utah is currently at 91.5. So they are going to have a 3-point improvement from last year to go over that point total. But I think it's possible. I think the second year for the Utah Mammoth, more comfortability being in their surroundings. I think I see Jason maybe hinting at, maybe not as fond about this team as I might be. But when I look at this Utah Mammoth team, certainly situationally, they're set up for better success. We'll see what they get with the forward group. The biggest concern, because I don't mind their blue line, the biggest concern I have for them is the bottom six. I think the bottom six is a little bit light. How much are you going to get from that third and that fourth line is going to be the question. So, like I said, I haven't bet it over yet, but I think I do lean a little bit to Utah because I think there's some intangibles, too, that are in their favor. The fact that they get a little bit more comfort. You're trying to get it's like a whirlwind, right? When you're moving from one place to another and you're having that first season where the franchise relocates to a new city. I think just there's going to be that higher level of comfort that, in theory, could help the Utah Mammoth this upcoming season. Alex, your thoughts here on the Utah Mammoth?
Yeah, it could be that they become comfortable and get settled into Utah, or this could be the basically kind of, I would say, maybe sophomore season, where, if they're an expansion team, that sophomore season is a little bit of a slump. And I think this could be a Utah team that maybe takes a bit of a step down. I see Jason happy to hear me say that, but it honestly does feel like this is a Utah team. The division has gotten so good. We've talked about this through all the other teams we've mentioned in the Central. That everything's kind of elevated up. And you said the biggest piece, and I agree with you without question, is keeping Karel Vejmelka healthy. But when you look at it, as soon as he signed that 5-year deal, it seemed like he played every damn game for the then hockey club the rest of the way. That's not the way you start off a 5-year deal, in my opinion. Yes, I know goalies they're nuts, right? They want to play every damn game they possibly can, but he's going to have to pay.
The workload was insane, and we talked about that last year.
Yeah, he's going to have to pay and like I said, he's going to have to pace himself. The coaching staff is going to have to pace him because now you have a veteran guy in Vanacek that should be able to spell you 25 games and give you at least 15 quality starts. Okay, at this point in his career, I think he can do that. If he can do that, okay, fine. But now you're asking 55, 50 or 55 starts for Vejmelka. And like I said, he's had a heavy workload even going back to the days in Arizona. So you just wonder, can he stay healthy? If he can't, and we saw the times that there were issues of stability with the goaltending, then this team kind of falls apart. Like you said, they don't have that secondary scoring is what I worry about. The top six looks good, but they also have to play at their highest level. Every one of those six guys has to be their best season ever, right? It seems like every year they have to come back with their best season ever. Your 25 goal guy, now you got to get 30. 30, you got to get 35 the next year. They are going at a pace that I just feel like they're going to hit the ceiling. I feel like a lot of guys in this team are going to hit their personal ceilings, and this team in itself will end up hitting a ceiling. So there'll be times to bet on them. There'll be times to bet against them. Their schedule's so up and down, right, as far as home and road. You look at, 3 games on the road, 4 games at home, 5 games on the road. They have a lot of home and road swings. That's going to create a lot of betting opportunities. But I would be shocked if this team is on the outside for sure, missing the playoffs again.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. Jason, you're not just the reason you don't like Utah, at least it seems that way, based on the reaction. It's not because they moved from Arizona to Utah, is it? You're not bitter about that, are you?
I'll always be bitter about that, but you said 91 points. Ladies and gentlemen, my lock of the season, take the under, por favor, and thank me later. I have a lot of friends on this team, and I'm going to be very honest with where I think the team is. I did not the trade that they made this year to a decor that. Listen, Sergachev is a top 20 defenseman in the NHL. After that, you don't have much. John Marino, good puck mover. I like him. Has had a lot of injury trouble. Ian Cole is getting up there. Not a great puck mover. Was in a very good position playing with Michael Kesselring last year, who had a career year. Who's a good friend of mine and somebody I've worked with. Was very shocked when they traded him away.
I know Buffalo in the Paterka deal. Yes, just to remind everybody.
You have Clayton Keller, you have Dylan Gunther, you have Logan Cooley, you have Nick Schmaltz. Why do you need another small scoring winger in JJ Paterka? It's not the need that they needed. It's not what they needed. They needed a centerman. They didn't bring one in. Barrett Hayton had a great season last year. You got him and Nick Schmaltz. You got Logan Cooley, Barrett Hayton, because you had Schmaltz play on the wing, but can Barrett Hayton, who's a good friend of mine as well, he needs to stay healthy. I just don't know. They have a lot of guys that are banged up, nicked up. And then also you lose, Connor Ingram had to go to the substance abuse program, came out, it was a sad situation for him. They're going to send him down. They waived him. So I think he gets picked up I don't know if he didn't get picked up, but he'll go to the minors if he doesn't.
Yeah.
Karel Vejmelka, before that resurgence last year, was in a really bad spot as a goaltender. And I don't think Vitek Vanacek's the answer. They were amazing and were a lot better and had a lot of success because they had that two-headed monster in Connor Ingram and Karel Vejmelka. They do not have that now. They're going to lose a lot of those games that Vitek Vanacek comes in and plays, even though Vitek is a decent, serviceable goalie. So for me, I don't like where this team's at. I think this is the catalyst for this team to potentially coaching change, potential GM change, and Ryan Smith gets to have his way with. I think these next year or two ends up becoming the catalyst, to Alex's point, where we all love them. They got a lot of talent, a lot of skilled guys, a lot of great players on this team. I think they have a future, but I don't think it's this year. And I think this year is the year that kind of they take a step back, and in that they have a resurgence to then become a playoff team.
Yeah,
but not this year.
Not this year, says Jason, and not just loving the under point total for this Utah.
Loving it. The Central once again, other than Chicago, who stinks, tough division.
It is. It is
very tough.
It's a very tough division. No offense taken. I'm sure for Alex,
it's a tough division, top to bottom.
Yeah. St. Louis, we like. We really, really like St. Louis. Obviously,
St. Louis, Colorado. I mean, Minnesota is going to be good. That's
Dallas, of course.
There's your three. Dallas, there's your four. Where do you slide it? You got it. Yeah. Now you're
Winnipeg's right in there too.
Now you got five. Now you're saying there's one right now. There's one. If you look at that, there is one spot open for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And
is Nashville going to be as bad as last year?
I don't think so. They better not be.
Just saying. So even the Hawks, could the Hawks be even a slight bit better than last year? But I'm just saying.
Now you're nuts.
But the point is,
they're going to be a fucking tire fire.
It's not a cakewalk. There's no cakewalk at all for Utah within the division.
No, it's not. And then, because again, the way this system is set up in the NHL, which I don't love the playoff format. 96 points typically that gets you in. Their 91s are projected. They got to hit probably 94, 95 to make it. I don't see them doing that. I don't see them making it just because that Central, there'll probably be 5 teams from the Central, and then you got kind of like last year. Then you got your 3 from the West. And even that in the West, in the Pacific, you got Vegas, you got Edmonton, you got LA that should probably pick their way in. So it's and then Anaheim's your 4. So now it's like there's about 4 teams that are going to battle for that last playoff spot. And I don't think Utah of those 4 teams is the better one. I just don't think they have it. So to me, I'm like, there's your under.
Yeah, I'm down on LA, and I'm actually agreeing with you. I think LA still might be a little bit better than Utah. So
yeah, I think Anaheim's going to surprise the shit out of a lot of people.
Yeah,
Yep.
love
And
Anaheim.
I just think Utah again is going to take the brunt of this.
Yep.
And I don't they're arguably their best offensive defenseman on average last year was Michael Kesselring with lower minutes, and they traded him away. And I know they got Lamoureux, and that's kind of the
Kevin
guy.
Adams gets shit on, but Kesselring's a nice return for Buffalo there. It is.
It's Josh Doan's a great bottom six. He's a great bottom six.
Yeah.
You talking about you lost punch on your bottom six by getting rid of Josh Doan. You talked about you lose some score.
That's right.
And he kind of.
Why is your bottom six, which I referenced earlier in our preview here, why is it thin?
Right.
Why is it a little lighter?
You Michael Carcone,
Yep.
You're asking him to come in and do something. I mean, the year he had 25 goals or whatever it was, I mean, his shooting percentage was like 80%, which is like unheard of. And you're always going to revert back to the mean. So you're looking at all these numbers. It's like, I just don't, I don't see it. I really don't. I think the center position is going to kill them. And I think their decor, unless Lamoureux comes in and shoots the lights out, I think that they're going to struggle. And then they don't have that 1-2 punch in the goaltending position to really mitigate the chances that they give up, because they do play a fast-paced game. They give up chances. And I just don't know if that system of Andre Tourigny can last another season. So I'm going to be interested. There's a lot more pressure now, too. That's the difference from being in Arizona.
I'm glad you brought up Maverick Lamoureux, because that's kind of what I was thinking that they were thinking. Bill Armstrong was thinking that.
That's the reason they traded Kesselring.
Ready, Kesselring, jettison him off to Buffalo and open the door for Maverick Lamoureux. And the question is now, is he ready? For the kind of minutes he's going to be asked to play.
And I don't think so.
Yep.
Again, how many minutes is he truly going to get? Are you going to you have Sean Durzi signed and you got John Marino signed. You got them both, Marino to 4.4 a year, and you got Sean Durzi at 6. You're gonna play a young kid. So then this young kid is gonna get 12, 13 minutes a night. But unless Durzi or Marino, who have been shown to get injured, but now you're still losing those point totals off. So it's like, Sergachev can only play so many minutes. And I really think after him, it significantly drops off on their back end. And I just think the excitement of being there carried them last year. And I think also the emergence of Dylan Guenther, who's a stud, Logan Cooley. But again, now the target's kind of on your back. And now teams aren't going to give you that free pass that you had. And now with JJ Peterka, every pundit's like, this is a playoff team. So I'm like, now you got Ryan Smith, who's a billionaire, brought this team in, who seems to be very dead set on, you have to win if you're there, and pushing hard to win. So it's going to be a different vibe there. So we'll see. I think it's one of those, I didn't look at their schedule to open the season, but I know they have a tough, they're kind of all over the place, and it's not really this.
3 games against Central Division opponents: at Colorado, at Nashville, and then at Chicago before going home for 4 games.
That's one you could potentially go 2 and you can win 2, lose 1. I think Colorado is going to be Colorado. I think is coming for blood. This is Brent Burns went there. They're trying to win a cup. I think they're going to fucking blow it out. And it's going to be interesting. Buy the under.
There you go. And then, of course, I'm looking at it now. You're right. Colorado, Nashville, Chicago. These are 3-game roadie.
11 of the first 16 games on the road.
Yeah.
Does not help.
But then I'm looking at the first 3. Like you said, they could go 2-1. And then they come back to Utah, and you've got Calgary, San Jose, Boston. My goodness.
Yeah.
You could actually get off to a nice little start there if you're Utah. There's not a single game there that isn't winnable. Except maybe the Colorado game, and even then, I think
at home already seen them once.
They've given Colorado fits over the years.
Yep,
they have. Yeah,
Utah.
Will they do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
How hurt is? I know Barrett Hayton's day to day. I know. Jack McBain is another kind of emerging guy on that team, but Jack McBain is banged up. Yes. And I think he plays a hard game.
Yep.
Lawson Krause, here's the one thing I'll give, and I'll give this caveat. If they're to make the playoffs, Lawson Krause has to have a season like no other for this bottom six.
He's got to be closer to the 21 goal season, not
got to
the
score
6-goal
20
season like last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
If he
Or
scores
12-goal
20,
season. Yeah.
if he scores 20, they have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
I agree. That's a great.
Done.
That's a great point because you need him, especially if he's going to be on that third line, which it's looking like that you need some offense from that group. That's a big question mark. He's got to improve on 12 goals from last year.
You got rid of Matthias Michelli.
Yeah,
it's your playmaker in your bottom six.
Yeah.
At DraftKings, you can get the October standings points over under 12.5 for the Mammoth. Now we're talking about this schedule early. They said you should be able to win 2 out of 3 to start the year. Then you go home and get cupcakes like Calgary, San Jose, Boston. So if you get 5 wins, that's 10 points. Should we be looking maybe at that over 12.5 points?
Potentially, because they end the homestand with Colorado, so they play Colorado twice, and then it's the road that's going to hinge on getting something
at St. Louis
out of the road trip,
at Minnesota, at Winnipeg, all 3. So they play everybody in the division in the first month.
Yeah,
which I think is fascinating.
That's a make or break. You could either be cruising, to the playoffs, or your season's done.
Yeah.
Or
you played at least one game against everybody and 2 against Colorado in October. You're right. That's
you can't make the playoffs in October, but you can damn sure really go a long way to taking yourself out of it in October with a bad start. Just ask Nashville from
just ask the Arizona Coyotes the year I was there. We lost the first 12, and you're fucking night. You're out in November, going to the bar after the game, being like, we don't have a hope in hell of making the playoffs.
Season's over. Drink my sorrows away in
November. Imagine having your season done in November. It happened to me twice. Oh no, once. Legitimately the season was over in November.
Well, I've been watching a Hawks team whose season has ended pretty much when the puck dropped.
It's the worst feeling in the world. You train all summer and you're like, you think for a player, you're like, well, this is done.
Right? Yeah, that's gotta be hard. It has to be like, and to keep through and keep your daily routine and grind and pace, knowing that it's all for naught. That's got to be
being a professional when you just want to go, and then it becomes very selfish. Guys you just trying to get yours, baby.
Right.
Get mine. Sure. So, but I'm buying the under on this team.
There we go. And Alex agrees with that. So Jason and Alex with the unders. I'm cautiously optimistic with Utah, but like I said, there were some salient points raised.
And here's the interesting thing too now, was we talk about how this early schedule might be a bit favorable, but we like the under overall. So maybe we talk about playing the under small now, adding a little bit more. Maybe they win 5 of the first 6, and now we're looking at an under 98, under 99.
Oh, shit.
Now we can smash that.
God, that turns me on.
There we go. Jason's got his he's writing down his notes here for when to pounce on some of these adjusted prices and adjusted lines throughout the season. Yeah,
I might go tickle that right now. I'm not allowed as an employee of the NHL, so I cannot.
Right.
But I could tell people that if I were,
indeed,
that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah,
no doubt.
And the politicians do it all the time in the stock market. Why can't we do it? Bullshit.
Yeah, it's hypocrisy. That's what it is. It's
yes, tomfoolery.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's what we get with Jason Demers joining us on our video previews. Lots of fun and lots of tomfoolery, and that's why we bring him on to help us out with team previews here on the Ice Guys. Great stuff talking Utah Mammoth. We'll wrap it up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great smoke sponsor, our brand new smoke sponsor of the show, our friends at Royal Cannabis.
Royal Cannabis, where the kings and queens shop.
Check it out, 20% off, promo code Ice Guys, RoyalCannabisShop.com. Jason Demers, great having him with us for a couple of these preview videos. You can check him out on the NHL Network all season long with, I'm sure, Mr. Rupp, Catherine Tappan, and whoever else is going to be on that show rotating throughout the year. I'm sure you're excited for that. And his podcast with Adnan Virk. Make sure you check that out weekly throughout the season. Him and Adnan doing a great job. So there you go. Like I said, when you need promotional help, Jason, for your content and your stuff, the Ice Guys are here for you.
NHL Unscripted, sponsored by the Ice Guys.
That sounds too bad.
No doubt. Make sure you check it out. It will not only be informative, it'll be entertaining, because that's Jason Demers right there in a nutshell. Entertaining as always. Great stuff. We hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button. For Alex B. Smith and Jason Demers, I'm Ian Cameron. This has been your Utah Mammoth season preview video as 32 teams in 32 days rolls along, courtesy of the Ice Guys.